Dan podcast ini tajangan khas oleh Adel Law LLC, sebuah syarikat yang memberikan khidmat konsultasi untuk perkara-perkara legal dan terutamanya syariah law.
Yes, korang boleh follow mereka di social Facebook, Instagram dan TikTok @adel.law.llc ataupun langsung laman adellaw.com.sg untuk maklumat lanjut.
Dan korang juga boleh book an appointment WhatsApp di talian 83997923, 83997923 atau walk-in Blok 190 Lorong 6 Tua Payuh, unit number 02512.
Kita masih lagi bersama dengan Norman daripada Nasi Lemak Ayam Taliwang, the second part. So kalau you guys dah termiss dengar first part, boleh batal balik dengar first part lah. Because banyak yang kita dah cover, almost 1 hour berbual.
Betul.
Interesting, banyak yang kita belajar juga. Tapi of course tadi sebelum kita start, Norman pun ada mention, boleh cakap yang you punya outlet lagi satu dekat Indonesia.
Boleh.
Ya, so dia kira dah expand sampai dekat Bandung juga dan mungkin pergi ke Bali juga.
InsyaAllah.
Oh, sampai ke Bali ya Pak?
Bali.
Oh,
yes.
Bukan Bali Lane tau. Dia Bali, okay?
Tapi kenapa nak kena pergi sampai Indonesia, whereas you know that dekat sana memang dia
Ayam.
powerful over there lah. There's a lot of businesses yang already control the market to sell this kind of food.
So Singapore kecil lah. After a while you realise how many outlets can you open here, right?
Yeah.
And successfully also lah. There's a benchmark to it lah. So we aim to do 50 outlets in Singapore.
50.
Kalau boleh lah. Kalau tak boleh, I think maybe 40, 35 kan. But that's the aim. And we felt that I felt that dekat Indonesia there's a lot more potential.
The growth,
The growth lah. Kan besar kan, 240 million the population. Habis tu banyak islands. It's very big. Of course, like you say, the competition also is very strong.
Oh, it's crazy.
And that's the birth of Malay food lah basically kan. Taliwang lah, cabai hijau lah, balado, nasi uduk, which is the complete version of nasi lemak. Nasi lemak is the watered down version.
Okay.
So, but I felt that we may have quality wise kita maybe boleh lah challenge sikit lah. So I want to test our the quality of our food, and also it's like a homecoming for my wife.
Oh,
so it's
yeah,
my wife the one who created the dishes, and also in a way that we want to go back there and try to influence the culinary market there lah with our version of nasi lemak.
For your case kan, is it the everyday learning ataupun there's blueprint yang you already know macam okay ni aku nak kena ikut macam ni? Because I just want to stand from the hawkers ataupun business owner punya perspective to have multiple outlets at the end of the day, sometimes you have 10 outlet and then you can make money already. It's already comfortable. But when you expand more, dia ada dia punya cons dia jugalah. You can lose money over there and then sini nak kena top up. So at the end of the day, the goal is to actually to make more money, profitable. At the same time, managing like for example 50 outlets is tedious though. So what's the end goal sebenarnya macam ni?
So the end goal for us is to be able to create a legacy lah.
Okay.
Not for me of course, because I'm the one doing it now, but I'm looking at the next 20 years where I'm able to tell my son or hand over to my son something that's been built by my parents. So it's a 3 or 4 generations away lah. So it's very rare in I think in Singapore terms. There are of course ada yang 4th generation may business and all that, right? But in our community it's very rare.
Yeah.
I rarely see it lah. There are of course, but the skill that we are doing, I haven't heard of any lah.
So tak banyak anak muda yang nak ambil alih dia punya parents punya business, especially macam apa ni, hawker, because they have their own plans. Jadi sometimes lepas dah belajar, they plan to do other things. So macam mana pun if you have a business, you nak sampaikan pada let your kids to take over, they all tak nak pun kita tak boleh buat apa-apa.
Betul.
Beside yourself and your wife also helping?
Now
Admin.
Doing admin.
Okay.
Finance.
Family members?
Tak ada.
Tak ada.
My sisters all tak nak join.
Okay.
Takut. Badi.
Okay. Respond in Malaysia, in Indonesia itself. Sorry, Indonesia. dia punya konsep sama juga kat food court ataupun is going to be upper class nasi lemak? How's the response of the Indonesians having nasi lemak taliwang? Because pricing wise, rasa dia sebab diorang banyak macam ayam geprek ini semua this kind of things, right? And nasi lemak quite rare kat sana.
Betul.
So how's the response there? And the pricing wise, dia punya konsep macam kat Singapore ataupun it's going to be a restaurant ataupun macam mana?
So we've already opened 2. Okay, one as a restaurant concept in collaboration with Dipenyet.
Okay.
We call it Little Indonesia. Dalam tu ada about 3 brand lah, 3-4 brand lah. So we are one of the brands. So it's a sit down concept, ada menu and all this. So another one we open in a food court, which food court similar to what we are doing in Singapore lah. Yeah. So we are trying to figure out what is the best positioning for us lah. For dekat Bali kita nak buka dekat roadside stall.
Oh, roadside
By the road, panggang kat in the open and all this lah. So that's what we are trying to do. We will kat Bali we will peras santan fresh dengan bakar using coconut husk.
So it's kat tepi roadside punya konsep.
Tepi roadside, basically kat tepi roadside bakar panggang jadi orang drive past habis nampak.
Itu nama nasi lemak taliwang.
Betul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like macam now you slowly you dah naikkan you punya branding daripada you hawker, then you pergi Indonesia you dah jadikan sebagai like a restaurant. And suddenly when you go to Bali, you buat kat macam tepi jalan, tak ke tu macam you feel like macam degrading your business ke? Macam mana?
It don't have to be in a way that you are describing it.
Yeah.
I felt that it's a very unique way of
Correct.
selling nasi lemak. It can be the roadside, like I think Abang mentioned tadi. It can be just one outlet and we can be making a lot, right?
Yeah.
So there, Bali is majority Hindu punya place, right? So it's not easy to find halal food,
True.
especially in the tourist areas and all this. Usually it's always Western food.
Yeah.
Then kalau even though they main nasi campur, it's not halal. So what I feel is, and also the buying power of Indonesians is not so big, right? Not so strong. So we're trying to see whether if we do a roadside stall, more people are willing to try
More
out
affordable,
the food, more affordable, try out our food, but it's going to be very fresh. We're going to put like say peras santan freshly before kita masak, bakar ayam semua dengan coconut husk. So it's something new that I am not able to do in Singapore lah. In Singapore will be mahal lah.
Would you consider also, okay, now is Southeast Asia, Indonesia or Bali. Would you consider in Asia itself, Arab, Dubai,
Europe, London.
Dubai first
Oh, Dubai.
Atau I don't know whether dia punya ambitious is going to be Europe, but Dubai. Do you have any? Do you consider that to explore in Dubai or any other Arab country to sell your food there, especially nasi lemak taliwang, dah ada branding. Dan tak banyak orang juga makan nasi lemak kat sana, and we have a lot of Singaporean or Asians staying there, working there.
There have been some talks, right? Some people are interested and they brought the idea, but for now it's all just talk lah.
Just talk lah.
Just very loose plans. And one day after we do Bali, then we do Dubai. It's kind of talks lah. So I don't take it too seriously. Of course, places like Jeddah, like Mecca, these are places that I'm looking into. I'm looking into, and again, there are people who approach the subject to me. Okay, they are building the space, come down and they take a look at the space and all that lah. But it's all talking lah for now.
Okay, boleh compete dengan Al-Baik lah
Al-Baik dah shot. Al-Baik dah shot.
Sebelah-sebelah tu kan dia Al-Baik dengan Taliwang dah sebelah-sebelah tau. Dah sama level lah.
No, I just want to understand what's the real business model sebenarnya. Macam kalau kita tahu okay, talking about let's say economic style.
Yeah.
Their real business is macam let's say jual hotdog, jual nugget, jual ni, jual cangki punya style tau. Itu yang buat duit. Nasi lemak tu dah boleh jual murah. Tapi dia punya additional tu itu yang buat duit.
Add on dia tu
Add on. So for yourself, what's the real business model?
I haven't thought it in that sense, like what you described just now. So when I started, like I said, I want to create a continual legacy, like
Legacy,
from my parents. So what they sold, I want to sell, and maybe I improve a bit, tweak a bit on the products itself, like adding nasi lemak, ayam taliwang, and all this. So that's my thought lah. That was the model then, is to serve the best nasi lemak there is .
Okay, faham.
Yep.
Maybe macam dia boleh jadi macam okay, kau nasi lemak tapi aku dah macam-macam sambal. Itu dia punya yang buat duit dia tu. Sambal dia macam-macam tu. That kind of
I
concept.
guess the unique selling point.
Unique selling point lah.
So sekarang sambal pun nak, kalau kau nak ambil extra pun kena bayar tau.
Jangan bayar.
betul.
Bayar.
You want
Nothing is free.
condemn kalau gitu.
Yeah.
Does it apply that way?
Yeah,
Where
extra,
additional
ambil
nasi lemak, nasi
I
apa
think
sambal nak kena
go to until $1 tak $1 satu cup salah.
you apply that way? Tak.
Nasi lemak
We used to
additional.
give it for free. People take advantage.
Oh.
Belum makan ni right. Give me more. Give me
Yeah,
more.
Tapi orang tu tak habis nanti.
Habis sama juga macam gitu.
Kan?
Pedas. So we started to prevent this. You want extra. Then we tweak. Say you want extra can. Dah habis datang balik kita kasih.
Yeah.
But do you charge for the additional?
Now we charge
How much is that?
Nice.
60 cents.
Kena charge bro.
Per scoop.
Tak apa.
Oh, petang.
Solid. This day and age budak-budak muda, I mean I don't know lah, this is my point of view. Mungkin banyak yang tak into masak, maybe they are busy with their life and everything. In your field, you know the numbers. Is it the traffic yang orang physically datang yang buat duit ke, atau online delivery yang lebih buat duit?
So now the trajectory more and more online orders
Online
less and less people are walking in to buy food, especially standard food lah.
Yes.
Burgers, McDonald's kan, or for us nasi lemak, ayam goreng, Arnold's, mie goreng, nasi goreng. So standard things like this, I think the amount of online deliveries are getting more and more. For us, it's about 40% of our sales is now
That's quite a
online.
lot.
Online a lot.
So nearly half already.
Yeah.
So man, so now you say that you buat you punya business ni 40% kan is online kan. Then you do in hawker, then your hawker will take how many percent? Do you take from this platform, delivery platform as well?
Yeah, as in like the sales, right?
Yeah.
So as for my hawkers, we are the first in the hawker to do online sales also.
Okay.
And of course for the 31 hours, they are the first also lah. So we have a healthy following because it's been 8-9 years already. Right? People start to order nasi lemak ayam taluang from Foodpanda, Grab, and Deliveroo. Yeah, so still it's about 35-40% lah.
That's why timber nak buang taliwang pun dia goyang, dia tak berani.
Mesti dia goyang.
You see, it's a good healthy strategies. You see, so you don't have to rely people coming to your place to eat, because you punya structures of online dah stable tau. Dah stable. You see, because it generates the whole amount, tetapi 40% from online. So it can accumulate more than that. Because sekarang anak-anak muda-muda, budak-budak pun sekarang, kalau if they know about nasi lemak taliwang, they just order by themselves.
Yeah.
You know, you just get the card numbers, then just order. So the buying power is healthier and much more powerful rather than you go down there and eat.
Okay, I have this personal question. Sorry,
Okay.
I want to ask. I had a discussion with my wife sekali about F&B.
Okay.
It's a business whereby a lot of stake to be whole in that business. Kau silap, kau bankrupt. Kau make it.
Okay.
And with this day and age, online lagi increasing and everything kan. Would it be better if we run in a cloud kitchen, central cloud kitchen, whereby dia tak ada physical walk-in, but you still can use your social media to do the selling, and then you can be on the Grab ataupun Foodpanda punya platform. So we just focus on online and then have macam let's say orang punya mass order, let's say ICA punya site ke mana-mana punya company. So you think would that be better this day and age to do that?
It's we've done that before, cloud kitchen, back in 2021 or 2022.
Oh, you done that before, okay.
Yeah. So we thought ada 4 kedai ada nama kan. So we did what you call that dekat Tampines. Cloud kitchens are the name. Okay. So we did that. We thought we get the numbers. Tapi
No.
we're not making money.
Online tak boleh.
How many years you sustain? I mean, how many months?
1 tahun lah.
1 tahun.
1 tahun tak bikin duit.
Aduh.
Penat. So our sales was like $1,000 a night tau. A day lah. $1,000. Dan 1 bulan tu 30,000 kan. Rental 7,000, air api, kedebang-kedebung, bayar-bayar semua. Plus
Negative.
30% from Foodpanda.
You still get right. I mean, the profit, there's still profit also.
We don't have profit. Luckily we consider broke even lah. We berhenti. So from then we learn, and then beside us Jollibee. Jollibee.
Oh, sebelah je.
Sebelah.
Alamak.
Sampai buka pintu kat luar semua. Berlambat-lambat dia order. Never stop. 24 hours no, they open.
Okay.
Never stop. Ting tong. Then kita tengok dia orang and look at us. So we realise mesti ada nama baru boleh. because people will not, like you said, people will look for the things they already know. What
Yeah.
Jollibee, McDonald's, that. Then they order. So their physical shop, it's okay. They concentrate on their walk-in because walk-in banyak juga kan. Kalau Jollibee, so they open the cloud kitchen to help them with the online delivery.
Okay.
So for brands yang consider baru atau tak ada nama, your marketing must be solid lah. Must be viral. Okay lah, orang order lah.
But now your brand are considered established. Do you think you're going to go back to Cloud Kitchen again? Do you foresee that?
No, we won't because now we know that from our physical kitchen pun kita boleh bikin apa.
Okay,
We
betul.
can also
Yeah,
create brands from our physical kitchen, so we save the rent.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't do cloud kitchens anymore lah.
Okay, ni how do you balance your life lah, family, business, dia chill sikit lah.
So, padahal dia berhenti apa ni? Tu apa ni? Tali ni semua pasal nak ada more family time. But now I don't think also
Sekarang
got
lagi
family
busy
time. Sekarang lagi busy kan?
Yeah, busy but in a sense that I can work anywhere.
Nice.
Even if I'm having breakfast with my wife in the mornings, right? I'm working on the phone now mostly. I pick up my son from school. I can stop for a while, pick up my son from school, have a bit of a chat, hantar dia balik makan, hantar dia pergi kelas, then I go out and like doing this podcast or do my work on the computer lah. So I'm able to manage my time as and when I feel fits me. So before when I was doing physically the job, of course I'll be working 16 hours, 18 hours. So I don't see my family lah. Bangun pagi, balik malam apa. But Alhamdulillah, I have a good team. They are managing the operations part. I'm managing them to ensure things are done. So on my part, it's mostly like I say, strategizing, envisioning where we are going, and also planning like shop opening, shop closure, and all this lah.
Okay.
So I'm able most of the job, and I always tell my assistant managers, right, most of the things you can do via your phone nowadays.
Yeah.
From calls to video calls to purchasing items to contacting landlords and all this, it's all via the phone. Only when you need to go to the shop is to do the physical inspection. It takes about half an hour lah. So most of the things I'm able to do it on the phone.
Yeah.
Unless we have meetings. Every day we have meetings, of course, physically about 2-3 hours, which I set aside for them.
For Zoom or physical?
Physical. I rather do physical pasal kalau Zoom kadang-kadang tak ada that connection lah.
Ya, betul.
Nak marah
There's
pun
no
susah.
personal
Nak marah
touch
sekali dia on mute lah.
Are you a fierce and strict stringent boss ataupun you are kind of relaxed and being flexible, casual kind of thing?
Honestly, I feel like I'm a very strict person. Very strict and no nonsense basically.
Nice.
So I always tell my staff, if you are too popular or a lot of staff likes you and wants to work for you, you're doing something wrong. It means senang lah nak kerja dengan kau kan. Kau too flexible. Datang lambat lah. Quality.
betul juga.
This manager get it. Aku salah pun tak ini. So I told them, when you want to go into the store lah, you have to put your game face on.
Yeah.
Don't go in and say, how's everything? Okay tak? Dah makan? No. They're doing the job, right? So make sure the job is done first, and then you can talk about other things lah, dah makan and all that.
Okay.
You don't go in with being like friendly, being a friend, because I told them, work is not a democracy. You know? We don't vote whether I can work or don't work. We are paying somebody to work, and they're expected to do the scope lah.
Yes.
Right? If they do the scope, everything else is easy lah. If they don't do the scope, the closer you get to them, the nicer you get with them, the harder it is to tell them whether it's wrong or not. Right? Dah terlalu akrab kan.
That's a good advice, yeah.
It's hard to do that.
What is your most situation yang paling rabak, down, nak nangis, rasa macam tak nak bangun lah? Pernah tak lalui? Kira dah boleh sampai mental.
Maybe during your initial start, when you start the business, the
Sampai dah sujud
first few
nangis.
outlet. Or maybe time yang COVID na time tu
COVID is it?
So there are a few instances.
Okay.
Yeah. First one is of course like I say, after 3 months sekali business all the way down. Nasi tu kita masak tu sampai sejuk. Imagine dia berapa lama tu kan. Tak ada orang nak.
Benda terbuang juga
Terbuang lah. So that was the point where I doubted myself. Tahu tak berhenti sih. buka haji 20,000 kita.
Okay.
Nak jual nasi lemak juga kan. But we persevered. Okay, we learn from the mistakes. Alhamdulillah lah kan, slowly naik. Okay, that was the first one. I really thought I made a mistake, and I was like, what do I tell my wife? My wife supported me all the way. Then I'm failing, you see. And I was 37 lah. 37, 38 point in time. Dah middle age. Consider dah nak pergi mana lagi. Takkan nak panjat lagi kan.
Yalah, tua lah.
Tiket pun dah habis. Dah expire on it to expire. So that was the first one. Second was the COVID time. So I say we nearly went bankrupt, but the government ada this program at point in time. You can loan for very low interest rate to survive lah. So that's what we did. We loaned $500,000 and we survived because of that. Dia dah buka balik. We open shop. Some shops are successful, and we cover back lah. So we finish off the loan in 5 years lah. Also there was once actually I had a partnership with a friend, or used to be a friend lah anyway, to do Makan Empire dekat Kaki Bukit.
Oh,
Asal Wan?
It's
Terkejut.
very big.
Very hype tau. Itu marketing.
Terkejut aku.
Aku pun terkejut.
Tak, pasal dulu last time I think kita selalu service
lepak
kereta
sana.
ke repair kereta selalu kat sebelah, I think pit stop. Sebelah dia pit stop apa? Pit stop situ. So when I send my car there for repair, cakap, di tempat ni like they start to do this concept like macam tempat Malaysia tau.
Makan Empire.
Yes, Makan Empire. So ada jual otak-otak lah apa semua. I think they close late lah, 3 pagi, 4 pagi lah.
Yeah, correct.
Ada macam steamboat, something like that.
Yeah.
One of my friends is the tenant there.
Siapa?
Budak SQ juga.
Kenal lah ni.
Budak buka sana. Dia
Jual sate.
Huh?
Jual sate.
I think sate or something. I
Maybe
wouldn't know.
the partner himself.
Maybe ya.
Perumahan dia partner.
Maybe Maybe
So, tapi dia last kejap je. I think 1 year. 1 year, 2 years.
Tapi kedai tu memang tak boleh make it, bro. Tempat tu the strategic, the place
Tempat
itself.
is good. Pada aku the location is good. It's like tempat junction tu. People kau pass by tu tempat, kau nak pergi Synergy ke, kau nak pergi kau tetap akan pass by tu tempat apa.
Tapi kedai makan Melayu tu keep changing sampai tak ada kedai makan Melayu pun before Makan Empire.
Oh, before. Yeah.
Yes.
So we did that. So I had a.
So you place that is your place. You are the main partner. Bukan tenant, apa ni?
Owner lah.
Owner lah. So owner with another ex-friend who was also a former SQ guy lah. Right. And so I also always look up to him, and he wanted to open a F&B. So we join hands lah. But because of the opening, dia buka kedai tu, because of that our relationship soured lah. So that's one of the my disappointments lah considered, because it's not about money, right? That point of time it's about macam bikin sama-sama, try to make each other success and all
Yes.
that. But because of words, because of maybe I don't know lah, mata merah or what lah, so the relationship soured. So that was a big disappointment for me. And then after that, in the end, the business also, the landlord cakap, okay, aku ambil balik, aku bikin kasih Cina. Bikin lah. So we closed that in a negative way lah. So those are the 3 things I felt that in the journey, my challenges lah.
So you're making a loss for
Also making a loss also. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands lah.
Would you advise to young people to start a business with friends, since you already go through this way, ataupun do yourself, don't have any partnership?
Yeah. Macam mana
This
tu?
is very subjective.
Yeah.
Okay, my dad advised me don't do with friends,
Okay.
because he's done it again. Pun kena backstab lah and all this, right?
Faham.
I've done it with friends. The initial start it was okay. Then after a while I did it with Makan Empire, tak okay, right? So it highly depends on
Your friends, your
the circle
partner.
lah, right? So the partners that I have today now, these 2 partners, excellent, 100%.
Alhamdulillah.
Dah 3-4 tahun, not a single argument lah. I sampai jadi takut.
Tak semestinya you partner dengan kawan ke apa semua akan turn negative lah actually kan.
Yes. So it's hard to advise to say don't do with friends or do with friends, right?
Yeah.
It's highly suggestive lah, that one lah.
Do you consider this being a good partnerships? You have to put aside your ego, ataupun your male alpha in you, that everyone is listening to you. You see, there are few partnerships which is successful, but at the end of the day collapse also. You see. So what are your secrets ataupun you punya main point to maintain these good healthy relationships or partnerships with your partners as well?
That's a good question. So the start, I think you have to segregate your scopes, your duties. Like I do operations, you do back of the kitchen, you do corporate. Okay, so that means if I do kitchen, if I do operation, I have the say lah in the kitchen in the operation, right? If you do the back end, the kitchen, the central kitchen, you have the say.
Betul.
You are the corporate, right? You have the say. So we have to establish this agreement first lah. That's so it's easier. If like let's say dua orang do operation, or my say or your say is very hard. Yeah, so that's the first point. The second point is don't overstep our boundaries that we establish. And the third one, if we do majority punya macam agreement let's say ada 3 partner, 2 partner say yes, 1 partner say no, then we follow the yang cakap yes
Majority
lah.
lah.
Veto lah.
Gitu lah kan. And don't be too emotional or I call that it's not the person. You must always take a look at the business. It's not the person itself. Kadang sampai marah-marah cakap kau bodoh lah, mak kau gini lah, kau penagih dada lah. These kind of things, of course, will spoil the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the business, no. It's what you say that's gonna. How can I trust you if you say that to me like this kan? Pasal duit, pasal decision. Business you can do anytime, right? But the friendship,
Betul.
nak cari betul lah.
Betul.
So this kind of things that I feel that if you want to go into a partnership, right, you must have the boundaries and the lines.
Usually when it comes to money also akan jadi pergaduhan juga kan. I mean, usually you need to give and take lah. Certain kind of thing you tak boleh berkira.
I won't say tak boleh berkira because it's business money, right? So we have to be accountable lah.
Betul.
But we cannot be macam take advantage of the situation macam let's say a simple way aku bayar gaji aku lebih kurang. This kind of things is very 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 touchy kan. Even though you're partners or you're friends. So for me, my mantra is I don't hold money. Bank account ke apa kena ada 2 orang cakap yes kan.
Okay.
Because I'm more in charge of operation, right? So I don't want to hold the money. I try to make the money, but my other partners will be the one who's in charge. In a way macam nak bayar barang kan, they will approve. I will bring it up. Okay, nak bayar, nak beli equipment. Okay, 4,000. Okay, approve lah. Something like that lah. So we separate. If I say okay, I'm paid 10,000, ni machine aku nak beli 4,000, semua aku approve. Dia pun tengok semua duit kau pegang. Semua kau approve. So we separate that kind of things.
This is a bit a sensitive questions Okay. 3 partners. Macam kita 3 partners lah. Okay, 3 partners. Is there any moment where you have a tense discussions, nearly fights, or that kind of situations where disagreement, certain things, and how you resolve that? Are you going to bite your bullets as your egos? You say, hey, guys, I'm sorry, or whatever it is. Is there any moments throughout your partnerships, ataupun it's all smooth sailing macam you cakap? What is the formula ataupun the secrets for you to have this kind of healthy partnerships?
Healthy is very subjective for me.
Okay.
Depends on whether, like you say, whether smooth or whether ada argument. So my previous partnership for Makan Empire, it's not that healthy lah, right? Because we don't communicate openly. We only hear rumors, that kind of thing. But I am always willing to back up. I'm more, in a way, I'm more objective. In a business sense, I'm more objective. If I feel I cannot work with somebody, I will volunteer to back out lah.
I see.
Right, unless there is a vote for me to say, okay, Noman, you stay because you can handle the business. So that's different lah. Like for this current partnership itself, we are very open. We are very communicative on a daily basis. We share ideas, and from my experience, right, like you say, we should all have less ego lah, basically. An ego kan, alpha ego, because not everything we say is right. So you have to listen to other people's feedback, your partners, and also accept that sometimes, or most of the times, or sometimes we can be wrong also lah. Our decision, they support our decision, sekali kita salah. Buka kedai, confirm ni bagus, kita boleh bikin. Kali fail kan. Yalah.
Okay. Ini like it or not, Malay community, hawkers, be it businesses, banyak yang kita dengar orang hantar barang. Macam mana tu? How
Pernah
you
experience?
safeguard your
Pernah experience
business?
Whether this is betul ke tak, you believe in this.
Wow.
My dad's time ada lah dengar-dengar juga lah letak apa
Mata
pouch kat
merah.
belakang kan. But I honestly don't care.
Okay.
Kau nak letak pocong kat belakang aku jalan terus because I don't do business because of that. My business fail also not because of that, or past atau success also not because of that, right? So let's say your faith have to be very strong with Allah, right? So it's because of him. If something happens, right, or people say letak barang or what, nothing can be done without his instructions, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Good or bad lah. So I honestly I don't care.
But the question is, kau pernah nampak tak benda macam
Benda
anything lah, mystic or whichever happens to find out something underneath or ada.
Jumpa ada dekat Makan Bayar tu lah.
Oh.
So Makan Bayar one whole building itself.
Yeah, true.
So bila kita bikin business first was very good.
Yeah.
Second, after a while orang dah start cakap aku dah pergi kedai kau nampak tutup lah, padahal buka. So this is what I always say here lah. And then my staff balik kita punya washing area kat belakang kan. Kapak main entrance. Padahal kapak main entrance.
Yeah, betul.
Dengar mengilai-ngilai. I never hear. My staff cakap. We have a sleeping room kat atas ni, kat 2 tau. Mezzanine lah. Ada satu tinggal kat sana. Pun sama. Ali cakap, boss, I don't want to stay here. I say, why? I hear I hear girl crying.
Oh, bunyi-bunyi ni semua
Bunyi semua. So we panggil, I call it Rukia. Ustaz Rukia. Dia cakap kita pergi ujung-ujung, the corners of the building, pergi panjat, tengok ada barang tak. Betul-betul ada. Ada macam those tie amulet paper.
Alamak.
Empat penjuru. So kita keluarkan lah. Keluarkan tadi buang and all that lah. Then got satu pakcik kerja kat one of the mechanic one of the mechanic makan cakap, kau tak nampak ke tu dua perempuan Thailand berdiri kat ujung.
Thailand ni
Kau tak nampak ke tu dua perempuan Thailand berdiri kat ujung? Cakap tak nampak. Of course I don't see, I never see but a few times cakap tu ada dua tengah berdiri kat ujung.
Wow. Bila cakap pasal ni macam tak tahu is considered coincidence or what. After you close, it's a Thai shop that open there. What?
I don't know, man.
Serius tak?
Yeah. Kedai Thailand apa buka kat situ.
How is it?
Yeah.
Alamak. Dia nak copy spot lah kan?
I don't know. But honestly, aku selalu frequent kat sana.
Okay.
Aku always pass by there when like you said macam tempat tu easily like malam, you know.
Yeah.
When I drive pass by there, tempat tu like macam macam slack gitu. Siang
macam
daytime
sunyi.
is like macam sunyi, macam tak ada orang datang kat
Lunchtime
situ.
aja ada.
Lunchtime tak, even lunchtime dalam pukul 1 is like totally kosong tau.
Okay.
Aku cakap dia tempat punya baik, strategic location, tapi it's like macam malap gitu.
Parking pun senang kat belakang.
Yeah. And then some more I think bila you cakap pasal this thing, after the tutup, I think kedai Thailand took over. Yeah, I think there's a few kedai that do Thailand punya makanan kat situ.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't know lah whether it's coincidence that
Tak apalah, Norman pun cakap amin. Aku ada benda lain.
Tak ada hal lah.
Okay, before we close, how do you want Singaporeans to remember nasi lemak ayam taliwang 20 years or 10 years from now?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I hope that Singaporeans remember nasi lemak ayam taliwang as the neighborhood nasi lemak food that you go to in the mornings.
In the mornings.
What time starts? Breakfast time.
As early as 6:30 AM kita dah buka.
Most of the store.
Some of the stores, some buka pukul 7, some buka pukul 8,
Okay,
depending on
that.
where we are.
Yeah, okay.
Nice. So your story really inspiring. Kita really learn a lot. Thank you so much for coming down and share your amazing story with us. And kepada kawan-kawan kita yang mendengar, you guys please support nasi lemak ayam taliwang. You know, kita sama-sama naikkan yelah bisnes Melayu kita, sama-sama kita jangan mata merah. Janganlah kita menghantar barang ni semua I mean ni semua rezeki, masing-masing ada rezeki Allah dah susunkan. So kita sama-sama kerja keras dan kita belajar daripada orang yang successful macam mana nak jadi successful lah.
Kalau kau nak hantar kat Norman pun tak guna. Pasal Norman cakap aku tak peduli ni. Okay? Jadi kau forget it. Kau tak payah nak hantar ni semua.
Yeah, so thank you so much bro for coming down.
Man, terima kasih
Thank you
banyak
for
Man.
having us.
Terima kasih
Appreciate.
banyak.
Kita sama-sama kat sini akan doakan kau semoga your business lebih sukses sukses insyaAllah, amin.
Amin.
Okay. Dan juga kepada podcast ni kita ada penaja kita Encik Syakirin daripada Adele Law LLC. Macam mana nak mencari Adele Law kalau ada masalah? Faizal, teruskan.
Macam mana cik dia? Cari tempat mana cap?
Korang boleh follow mereka di socials, Facebook, Instagram dan di TikTok @adele.law.llc ataupun lungsuri lelaman adellelaw.com.sg untuk maklumat lanjut.
Yes, kau boleh book appointment tu WhatsApp di talian 83997923 ataupun walk in ke office mereka di 190 Lorong 6 Toa Payoh tingkat 02 512.
Terima kasih kerana sudi mendengar dan insyaAllah kita akan berjumpa you guys di the next episode. Bye-bye.